So what if I told you that just sitting in your favorite armchair right now is doing basically the exact same structural damage to your body as well as putting a perfectly healthy arm in a sling for like 15 hours a day?
I mean, it's a jarring visual for sure,
Yeah.
but from a purely biomechanical standpoint, it's actually incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
We just have this collective expectation that a slow, inevitable physical decline is just, normal. We wake up stiff, our backs ache, we groan when we stand up, and society just kind of shrugs and says, well, that's just getting older.
Right. Like it's just the tax you pay for being alive.
Exactly. We accept that stiffness as the price of admission for having a few decades under our belts.
We are looking at a physical landscape today that is so much more malleable and honestly so much more resilient than we've ever been led to believe.
Oh, totally. It's really about reclaiming your physical autonomy.
So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to just completely upend the way you think about getting older.
Because it's entirely possible to do so.
It is. We are digging into some deeply fascinating source material today. It's a book by Susana McGuire Jewell called What is Youth? How to Grow Young in 7 Easy Steps. And her core, honestly, completely audacious claim is that youth isn't a chronological age at all.
Right. It's not a number on a driver's license.
Exactly. She says it's a state of zest, it's spontaneity, it's what the forward author, Dr. James Wanless, brilliantly calls renewability.
Renewability. Just the ability to renew oneself. And that reframing changes absolutely everything. You aren't just desperately preserving whatever joint cartilage you have left.
Right, holding on to it for dear life.
Yeah, you are actively regenerating your physical state on a daily basis.
And look, whether you are 25 or 75, if you spend most of your day trapped in a chair, or if you just constantly feel stiff and tired, this deep dive is going to offer you some highly specific, slightly unconventional, but deeply practical tools to literally turn back the clock on your body and your mind.
And spoiler alert, you don't need to live in a gym to do it.
And no gym required. Okay, let's unpack this. To really understand how to grow young, we first have to understand exactly how we grow old. And the author makes this really compelling case that it doesn't start with bad genetics. It starts with our daily environment.
And her own backstory illustrates this perfectly. Because Susana was not some naturally gifted lifelong athlete. Growing up, she actually hated gym class.
Oh, same.
Right. She considered herself highly unathletic. She was sick all the time. But her entire worldview basically shattered in the 1980s. She was attending art school, and she finds herself living in this roach-infested Manhattan tenement alongside professional dancers.
The contrast she paints in the book here is just incredible. So she's sitting still all day, studying figure drawing. And these dancers, and one of them actually danced for the American Ballet Theater, they are just in perpetual fluid motion.
Always moving.
Always. She'd watch them dance all day at the studio, come home, wash their leotards in the bathtub, and then go right back out to dance again. And they were surviving on millet, hanging upside down in gravity boots, reading Diet for a Small Planet, and just like vibrating with life force.
And that electric, resilient lifestyle stood in such a tragic, stark contrast to her own family members. As she grew older, she watched her relatives slowly decline into just deep sedentariness.
That part was heavy.
It was. They clung to tobacco, refined sugars, heavily processed foods, until, as she tragically describes it, their bodies simply ran out of power. Like they became the living dead, purely due to a lack of nutrients and movement.
And it was that trauma, right? Watching people she loved needlessly lose their vitality. That's what drove her to become a personal trainer and a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Which brings us to her very first and probably most confrontational piece of advice. Step 1. She calls our modern reliance on chairs overexposure to furniture syndrome.
Such a great term.
It really is. She actually assigns homework to the reader. She says you must sit on the floor, maybe on a pillow, but on the floor, for at least one TV show or one conversation every single day. She even suggests having a dinner party on a blanket on the floor.
Which sounds fun, honestly.
It does.
Yeah.
But I mean, let me push back a little here. I sit on a couch for like 4 hours a night, reading or watching TV. Is it really doing actual damage, or is she just being a little bit dramatic about furniture? Like, is a couch really putting my arm in a sling?
Well, the biomechanics behind it are just undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at what is happening inside your hips right now if you were sitting.
Yeah.
Your hip flexors. Those are the heavy, thick muscles that connect your lower spine to the front of your thighs. They are locked in a shortened, contracted position.
Because my knees are pulled up.
Exactly. And if you stay like that for hours, your body adapts. It literally thinks, oh, this is our permanent shape now. So when you finally do stand up, those tight hip flexors pull your pelvis forward.
Ouch.
Yeah. And that immediately forces your lower back to arch painfully. And then your upper spine hunches over just to compensate and keep you upright.
Wow. So the chair is literally remodeling my skeleton.
It is. And while your hip flexors are tightening into these awful knots, your glutes and your abdominal muscles are basically taking a long vacation. Because the chair is doing all the work of holding you up, your core muscles become overstretched and inactive.
They just turn to mush.
They do. They atrophy. The internal scaffolding that is supposed to hold your spine upright just degrades. And historically speaking, I mean, chairs are a very recent upper-class invention.
Oh, right, like thrones.
Yeah. For the vast majority of human history, our bodies were designed to sit, squat, and just rest on the ground. When you sit on the floor, you naturally engage your core, and you constantly have to shift positions, which naturally maintains joint mobility in the hips, the knees, and the ankles.
Okay, so getting out of the chair and onto the floor is the baseline. We get that. But say you do that. You sit on the rug, and you suddenly realize just how stiff, locked up, and frankly miserable your body has actually become from years of this furniture exposure.
Which happens to almost everyone.
Yeah. So how do we undo that stiffness?
Well, that naturally leads to step 2, which is stretching daily. But she defines flexibility not as some unattainable, Cirque du Soleil talent.
I am definitely not doing backflips.
Right. Nobody is asking you to. It's simply restoring the normal range of motion around a joint. But the trick is, any progress you make today is completely lost tomorrow if you don't repeat it.
And she relies heavily on hacking this specific neurological mechanism called the stretch reflex. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because I loved this concept. Think of the stretch reflex like your body's overprotective software firewall.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and you absolutely cannot force your way past a firewall, right? If you bounce into a stretch or push way too hard, the firewall just locks you out completely, and that causes that intense burning tension you feel. You have to patiently hold the pose until the brain finally recognizes, okay, there is no actual threat here.
Yes.
And only then does the software unlock, granting you access to your own muscles, allowing them to finally let go.
That is the perfect analogy. Because when you aggressively pull on a tight muscle, your brain perceives that sudden lengthening as a severe injury threat.
It panics.
It panics. It thinks you're about to tear a tendon. So its protective response is to forcefully contract that exact same muscle to protect it. To bypass that firewall, she says you must hold a static stretch for at least 30 seconds or 3 very long, deep breaths.
And she gives some really great targeted movements for this in the book, right? Like bringing both knees to your chest in a fetal position, which stretches out the spinal stabilizers.
Oh, that one feels amazing.
It really does. Or extending one leg flat on the floor while hugging the other knee to your chest, and that specifically targets that shortened psoas muscle, right? The hip flexor that was ruined by the couch.
Exactly. And she also talks about the figure 4 stretch, where you cross an ankle over your opposite knee. That specifically targets the piriformis muscle deep in the glutes, which is just incredible for relieving sciatica pain.
I know so many people who need that.
Me too. But the physical stretch is only half the equation here. Step 3 is breathing. Because stretching simply doesn't work if you don't combine it with the breath. In Sanskrit, this is called pranayama, which roughly translates to the control of the life force.
And she recommends this very specific type of deep belly breathing. You visualize your breath like a water balloon filling up slowly, expanding 360 degrees around your entire torso.
Not just in the chest.
Right, expanding the ribs in the back too. But the magic really seems to be in the exhale. You are supposed to exhale as slowly as humanly possible through pursed lips, literally exactly like you're blowing through a tiny cocktail straw.
Yes.
So why the cocktail straw?
Because that cocktail straw exhale acts as the literal password to that neurological firewall you mentioned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When you purse your lips and dramatically extend your exhalation, you are creating back pressure in your chest cavity. And this directly stimulates the vagus nerve.
Which is like the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, right?
Exactly. It actively downshifts your body out of that wired fight or flight stress response, and it literally forces it into the rest and digest state of release. That elongated out-breath is what finally proves to the brain, hey, we are safe. You can drop the muscular defenses.
Okay, so we've hacked the nervous system to release the physical tension. We're sitting on the floor, our hips are finally opening up, and we are breathing past the firewall.
A great start.
But releasing muscle tension is really just treating the hardware. What about the fluids running through the engine? Like, how do we get the blood flow to actually rejuvenate the body?
Well, that's step 4. The author suggests inversion,
Going upside down.
literally turning yourself upside down to let gravity do the work for you. Now, obviously, we need a quick medical disclaimer here.
Right.
You should absolutely avoid this if you're dealing with glaucoma or unchecked high blood pressure.
Right. Definitely check with your doctor.
But for the general population, she suggests just lying on your back and resting your legs vertically up a wall, or even just placing a yoga block under your hips to elevate your pelvis.
And the benefit of that is just getting blood to the brain.
Well, it's massive. Reversing the gravitational pull allows all that pooled venous blood in your legs to easily return to the heart, and it significantly increases freshly oxygenated blood flow to the brain.
Which we all need.
Right. She notes this can actually help the brain operate a staggering 14% more accurately, all while it continues to calm that parasympathetic nervous system.
But once we have that blood flowing effectively, we have to talk about what is actually in the blood. Like, we have to talk about fuel.
Step 5. Eating simply and cleanly.
Yes. And she cites this massive April 2014 study from the BBC led by Dr. Oyinlola Oibode. They tracked over 65,000 people.
That is a massive sample size.
It's huge. And the results were just wild. They found that eating 7 or more portions of fruits and vegetables a day reduced the risk of death by any cause by 42%.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. 42%. In the world of medical research, finding any lifestyle intervention that reduces all-cause mortality by nearly half is staggering.
Yeah, that's not just a minor tweak.
No, that is not a marginal improvement. That is a massive paradigm-shifting extension of human life.
And she offers some really pragmatic ways to actually hit that target so you aren't spending 3 hours a day just chopping salads.
Yeah.
She has this express smoothie recipe, which is literally just berries, dark greens, water, and chocolate protein powder.
Super easy.
It's so easy. And you get the dense micronutrient profile of a massive salad, but it genuinely tastes like a chocolate shake. But then she pivots into Ayurvedic traditions with a dish called kachari, which was actually entirely new to me.
Well, kachari is an absolute staple in Ayurvedic cleansing and healing.
What's it at?
It's a warm, really comforting porridge made of easy-to-digest mung beans or lentils, brown rice, and heavy warming spices. Things like turmeric, ginger, and cumin.
Okay, sounds good.
But noticeably, traditional kachari completely omits onions and garlic.
Okay, hold on. Why no garlic or onion? I mean, I put garlic in literally everything I cook. Aren't they considered massive superfoods?
Well, from a Western nutritional standpoint, sure, yes. They have antibacterial and immune-boosting properties. But Ayurveda categorizes food not just by vitamins, but by their energetic impact on the nervous system and the mind.
Oh, interesting.
Right, so kachari is designed to be purely sattvic. And sattvic foods are balancing, grounding, and non-mucus forming. They gently lead your body back to homeostasis, and they help create a very calm, clear mind.
And garlic isn't calm.
No, onions and garlic are considered rajasic.
Rajasic.
Yes, and rajasic foods are highly stimulating. They create heat and agitation in the body. So while they might be medicinal in certain contexts, they actually increase mental restlessness, much like drinking coffee or eating a ton of red meat.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and then you have tamasic foods like deep-fried starches or highly processed junk foods, which create heavy stagnation and sloth. So the entire goal of kachari is pure, gentle, sattvic balance, just to give your overworked digestive system a profound rest.
Well, what's funny is she clearly doesn't only eat for pure monastic calm, because the very next recipe she gives is the exact opposite of sattvic.
All of the apples.
Yes, she calls them fire apples, and it's literally just raw apple slices absolutely drenched in Frank's hot sauce.
Oh no, it sounds crazy.
When I read this, I genuinely thought she was just messing with us to see what we'd be willing to eat. So wait, putting hot wing sauce on a raw apple, is this just a gimmick for shock value, or is there a real reason to combine these?
What's fascinating here is that this bizarre snack is actually a highly calculated metabolic biohack.
Really?
Yeah, it goes right back to Hippocrates' ancient rule. Let food be thy medicine. Think about the biological components here.
Okay.
The apple provides quercetin, which is a powerful anti-inflammatory along with dense pectin fiber for colon health. But when you add the hot sauce, you are introducing a heavy dose of capsaicin from the cayenne peppers.
And what does capsaicin actually do?
2 very important things. First, the heat triggers a mild pain response on your tongue, which forces your brain to release endorphins, which are your body's natural euphoric painkillers.
So you literally get a high from the apple.
Exactly. And second, it induces thermogenesis. Studies actually show capsaicin can raise your metabolic rate by up to 25%, causing you to burn extra calories for hours.
Wow.
So she took a somewhat boring everyday snack and engineered it into this endorphin-releasing, metabolism-stoking engine.
Okay, so we flushed the hardware with inversions, we're fueling the engine with satificatory and metabolic fire apples. But none of that vitality really matters if the literal and figurative structures holding you up are just collapsing under the weight of the world. Which brings us to the architecture of the body and the mind. Posture and gratitude. Steps 6 and 7.
Let's look at the physical architecture first. Step 6. The author draws this really beautiful comparison between ideal human posture and the ancient Greek kouros and kore statues.
I've seen those in museums.
Yeah, these marble figures that perfectly embody noble, balanced youthfulness. They aren't rigid or militaristic. They are deeply grounded in the earth, yet they look incredibly light and lifted.
So if you're listening to this right now, maybe you're on a commute or at your desk, just check your shoulders for a second. Are you slumping forward?
Yeah, probably.
Most of us are. She describes the ideal physical sensation of posture as becoming a mountain. Your weight should be distributed equally between both feet. Your knees shouldn't be locked out. They should be slightly bent, absorbing shock like springs.
Very grounded.
Yeah, and then you inhale, roll your shoulders up toward your ears, and as you exhale, you deliberately roll them back and down, and this is my favorite visual from the book. Imagine your head is a helium balloon gently tethered to your neck, just swaying lightly, reaching skyward.
That's a great cue.
It totally changes how you feel. Good posture puts your internal organs back where they belong, it aids digestion, and it honestly instantly makes you look taller, thinner, and visibly younger.
But the physical posture is only half the architecture, because the physical upward lift of your spine really has to be matched by an upward mental spiral. Step 7 is gratefulness and contentment, because as a species, we are so prone to the downward spiral of anxiety.
Oh, she nails the downward spiral. She lists these incredibly relatable, mundane anxieties that we literally all cycle through, like, did I pay the energy bill? Look at those dust bunnies. Are the cats losing weight? Are we all going to drown from climate change?
It escalates so quickly.
It does. One stressful thought latches onto the next, and suddenly you are just paralyzed by a feeling of impending doom while just sitting in your living room.
And to counteract this, she introduces the yogic concept of santosha, which translates to deep contentment.
Santosha.
Yes. The psychological principle she leans on here is that like attracts like. If you consciously force yourself to hold on to one single thought of deep appreciation, and I mean, even something as simple as recognizing how cool and soft your bed sheets feel against your skin, that thought will naturally link to another positive thought.
It breaks the circuit.
It actively breaks the exhausting cycle of conditional happiness.
The I'll be happy when cycle. I'll be happy when I finally lose 5 pounds. I'll be happy when my boss acknowledges me. I'll be happy when the Sharks finally win the Stanley Cup.
Good luck with that last one.
Hey, you never know. So what does this all mean? Think of posture as the physical scaffolding for your body and gratitude as the algorithm for your brain. If you keep clicking on stressful, anxious thoughts, the algorithm just feeds you more stress. You just get trapped in a doom scroll of your own making inside your head. But if you intentionally force the algorithm to click on gratitude, it fundamentally reshapes your entire mental feed.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, embracing Santosha doesn't mean you have to abandon your ambitions.
Right, you don't have to give up all your goals.
No, she explicitly notes that desires and goals are completely normal. She compares them to an effervescent fountain. They are beautiful to watch bubble up, and they give life texture. But they aren't the core of who you are. You can strive for future accomplishments while remaining deeply anchored in the contentment of the present moment.
And all these individual practices, getting out of the chair, holding those 30-second stretches, breathing through the cocktail straw, eating the fire apples, standing like a Koro statue, and hacking your mental algorithm, they all ultimately merge into a single unified practice. She defines this as the ultimate yoking, which is the true definition of yoga.
Exactly, because the Sanskrit word yoga literally translates to yoking or uniting.
Mm-hmm.
It is the intentional connection of the mind, the body, and the spirit. It's so much more than a workout class.
It's not just wearing leggings and sweating.
Right. It is a deliberate method of bringing your scattered awareness entirely into the physical vehicle you inhabit.
And she captures this perfectly when describing Vasana, which is the resting pose at the very end of a yoga practice. She uses this stunning metaphor. She says Savasana turns the chaotic mind into a completely quiet lake.
It's beautiful.
It is. And only when the water is perfectly still can the reflection of the moon, which represents our spirit, finally be mirrored clearly on the surface. The entire goal is to quiet what she calls the storms of the mind, that constant, exhausting monkey chatter. She wants you to become the Jacques Cousteau of your own body.
I think that is the most powerful framing in the entire book.
Right. Exploring the dark, neglected nooks and crannies of your own hips and shoulders. Just truly listening to what your connective tissues are trying to say before a minor imbalance snowballs into a full-blown chronic disease. Because we so often treat our bodies like rental cars.
We really do?
We're just blindly, aggressively driving them around, completely ignoring the check engine lights flashing on the dashboard, rather than treating them like the delicate ecosystems we really need to deeply explore.
This raises an important question. How much time do you spend maintaining your car compared to the time you spend listening to the physical vehicle that carries your soul?
Oh, that's heavy.
It is. She even points out the beautiful etymology hidden in our language. The Latin root word spur means to breathe.
Spur.
Yeah, it is the root of words like respiration, inspire, and spirit. Your breath, literally your spirit moving through you.
So, to synthesize all of this, growing young has absolutely nothing to do with avoiding your chronological age or vanity. It is about generating zest.
Renewability.
Renewability. It's about maintaining the structural flexibility to just sit comfortably on the floor with your family. It's about unlocking your body's overprotective firewall with those 30-second stretches and cocktail straw breaths. It's about fueling your engine with Sativic greens and metabolic fire apples. It's about standing tall like a mountain and intentionally programming your brain's algorithm for gratitude.
It is a complete paradigm shift from passive, inevitable aging to active daily renewal.
And we want to leave you with a mind-bending concept derived from this text to really chew on today. The author mentions that scientists currently predict babies born today will routinely live to be 120 years old.
Wow.
So I want you to deeply consider this reality. If you are going to live to be 100 or even 120, no matter how old you are right now, you are currently just a senior in training.
Let's see, you're in training.
Yeah, you might have another 40, 50, or even 60 years left inside that physical vehicle. So what are you doing today to ensure that your body will actually be a fun, vibrant, and painless place to live for the next half century?
Let that reality sink in the very next time you find yourself reaching for a chair.
Exactly. Don't let your battery just slowly run out of juice. Take the wheel, hack the firewall, and renew the battery yourself. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We highly encourage you to try at least one of these 7 steps today. Just sit on the floor, take a deep breath, and we will catch you next time.